It's a Sunday afternoon. Someone hands you a newborn, soft-skulled, blinking, smelling of something ancient and clean, and the room holds its breath. Everyone is watching your face, and what crosses your expression in that half-second isn't what they hoped for. Not warmth, not longing, just a quiet, interior nothing. You smile anyway. You hand the baby back. You say the right thing. And somewhere on the drive home, you're scrolling through your phone. A stranger's baby photo. You stop. You wait for something to move in you. Nothing comes. And a thought surfaces that you've been pushing underwater for years. I don't want this. I never did. Then, almost immediately, another one. But what if that's just fear? What if I'm avoiding something I'm not ready to face? Stay with both of those thoughts. Because this video isn't going to tell you which one is true. It's going to give you the tools to figure that out yourself. Here's what almost nobody tells you. In the United States, around 1 in 5 adults will never have children. A number that has nearly doubled since the 1970s. In parts of Western Europe, it's even higher. And researchers who study this group keep finding the same thing. These are not people who drifted into a choice by accident. They are people who paid very close attention to themselves and trusted what they found. Voluntarily, child-free individuals consistently score high in conscientiousness, in openness to experience, and in clarity of personal values. That doesn't make them better than people who choose parenthood. It means that when a person resists enormous social pressure and stays with their own answer, something specific is happening psychologically, and it's worth understanding what that is. I need to nerd out for 60 seconds. Stay with me, because this reframes everything. One of the earliest frameworks that helps explain this comes from Erik Erikson's concept of generativity, the human drive to nurture, create, and contribute something that outlasts us. For decades, psychology treated generativity and parenthood as essentially the same thing. Have children. Raise them. Legacy secured. Researcher Marty Ireland disrupted that entirely. Her work showed that generativity doesn't require biological reproduction. It requires meaning, and meaning is deeply personal. Some people find it in raising children. That is a serious, deliberate act of self-authorship, a chosen architecture for a life, not a passive default. Others find meaning in work, in community, in creative contribution, in the quality of attention they bring to relationships they've chosen rather than inherited. Both paths, when chosen consciously, are the same thing underneath. A person deciding, on their own terms, what their life is for. The difference is that one comes with a cultural script already written. The other requires you to write your own, out loud, repeatedly, for the rest of your life. Here's the mechanism underneath that. At 24, someone you loved said, "I thought by now you'd want this." And something in you went very still, not defensive, not guilty, just certain. That stillness was the compass. You didn't know to call it that then, but it was already calibrated. Some people arrive at this knowing early, not because they're broken, but because something in how they were seen taught them to trust their own signal. And when that signal is strong enough, it holds, even under pressure, even when the room is watching. Child-free people, particularly those who knew early and kept it quiet for years, often describe a specific texture to their experience, watching the performance of expected life from a slight remove. Not detachment, exactly. More like living inside a script you didn't write, playing a role no one questioned, because the role was assumed. Somewhere in that process, you got very good at performing the expected self while quietly archiving the real one. Think about a moment. Not at a dinner table, not with a relative's pointed question, but alone, scrolling, seeing someone's announcement, their ultrasound photo, their first day of school picture, waiting for something to arrive in you. And when it doesn't, that silence, the space where the longing was supposed to be, feeling like evidence of something wrong. Here's what's actually happening in that moment. The longing you were supposed to feel wasn't natural. It was constructed, assembled from 1,000 small signals across your entire life about what a good person eventually becomes. And the discomfort attached to its absence? That was the enforcement mechanism. The feeling that you'd failed to arrive somewhere everyone else had already reached. But enforced longing and genuine longing are not the same thing. One comes from outside, the other comes from the part of you that already knows. The hard question, the one worth sitting with, is which one you're actually feeling. And that question doesn't have a fast answer. Now let me tell you what's actually on the other side. Not as a consolation prize, not as a compensation for something absent, but as a genuine form of human flourishing, the capacity for solitude without loneliness, the ability to construct meaning outside inherited scripts, relationships chosen for depth rather than obligation, time treated as a finite and serious resource, creativity, work, community pursued with a quality of focus that a different life would make nearly impossible. These are not lesser outcomes. They are complete ones. So go back to that Sunday afternoon. The room full of expectation. The baby returned. The quiet in the car. The phone in your hand. The photo. The silence where the feeling didn't come. And the two questions that followed. I don't want this. Or am I just afraid? Here is what this video can tell you. Both of those questions deserve a real answer. Not the answer that makes the room comfortable. Not the answer that ends the conversation at Thanksgiving. The answer that holds up when you're alone and quiet and no one is watching your face. That is the only answer that matters. And you are the only person who can find it. This week, think back to a moment when you heard your own answer clearly. Whatever it was, not the answer you performed, the one underneath it. When was it? What made it possible to hear? Leave it in the comments. Because someone scrolling right now is still waiting for permission to listen to themselves, and your one sentence might be the thing that gets them there.